Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Gulsum Kusharva. I'm assistant professor, researcher, and someone who has gone through joys and struggles of grad school. Many graduate students are ambitious, hardworking, but many, including myself in the past, fall into the same mistakes, and by that make the PhD harder than it has to be. In this video, I'll share the 3 biggest mistakes that I made during my PhD years and how you can avoid them. At the end, I'll also share a bonus lesson that will help you stay motivated at the times when things feel overwhelming. First is overanalyzing and waiting for a perfect plan. You see, if you come from an analytical background, many scientists, many medical doctors, they tend to overanalyze, and we rely on our logical mind more often than on our emotions and follow the impulses. Sometimes this overanalysis can lead to analysis paralysis stage. So when I started my PhD, for example, I wanted to do a great project, and I thought that I have to figure out all the details in my mind first before taking action. Actually, this stage was very slow, and I ended up changing my topic after about 5-6 months, in fact. But the first month, I remember I was trying to learn everything before getting started. Think about it. For example, you do not go to medical school before you become a doctor, right? You go to medical school in order to be a doctor, in order to learn stuff. The same thing with the PhD. Sometimes when we're trying to make a plan, we think that we have to know before learning in order to make a plan. And that's the biggest mistake. In fact, when you have a plan, it helps, but do not spend a lot of time on trying to find out all the details, because your PhD project would probably change. Oftentimes, what I saw among my peers, and in my case as well, the plan that you have in the beginning is very different from actually what turns out. Along the way, sometimes you change a small direction, and your final goal may be achieved in a very different way than you thought initially. Another thing is, when you get started, you get momentum. And when you get momentum, it's easier to take the next step. You embody this energy, it took action, and it's easier to take the next action after that. If you do not know what the plan should be, at least start from something. Start perhaps replicating an experiment that was already written in a paper that your project is based on, or in your field. Read the paper, talk to someone, take some action. Even if imperfect, even if it's wrong, an action towards a certain direction is better than no action. Second mistake is trying to do everything. When I started my PhD, I came from a background where I did some research, so I thought, I already have publication and I have some research background, PhD is going to be so easy for me. That couldn't be further from truth, because if PhD is too easy, that's probably not worthwhile project for you. You have to be able to stretch yourself during PhD and be at that limit where it doesn't break you, but it also creates some resistance, so you can overcome those hurdles and grow. For me, because I thought that I had a research background, I thought my PhD has to be really good and it has to be like this groundbreaking research. I tried to do many different things. The PhD project nature itself was very multidisciplinary. It involved knowledge from different fields, and trying to do everything becomes overwhelming. So do not try to encompass many things at once. Start from small field or small direction and tackle it, and after that you can move to another. So everything has to be sequential, not parallel. That ties to multitasking. Multitasking is a myth, even though some vacancy and job tasks require us to do multitasking. In reality, our brain is not able to do multitasking. Same thing with multidisciplinary projects, same thing with trying to do everything at once. Do not attempt to do that. And if you have to get some help, seek help early. Find the answers to your questions from the internet. If you do not, then of course ask the supervisors or your senior colleagues, but try to get help early on. Do not stretch yourself too broad, too too wide. The third mistake I made was confusing discipline with working every day. At some point during my PhD, I remember I was like, I need to work hard. I have to do this. I have to get this done. And then I would actually force myself to go to the lab every day, even on weekends every day, because I thought that builds up discipline muscle. When you have habit, it's easier to not think about it, right? Because it turns into habit. So I sort of wanted to make myself a new habit of working every day and going to the lab every day. And obviously that didn't last long. So know your limitations. Even if your physical condition allows you to work every day without rest, trust me, it will not last very long. At some point when the inconvenient circumstance arise or there's some conflict in your personal life, the first thing that will take a toll is your physical well-being. So do not confuse discipline with working hard. If you watched my other videos, you're probably familiar with what I think about working hard. Working could be seen as working hard to other people, but to you, if you love your project, then it would be easy to just get lost in your work without thinking of time. Obviously, we're all human and not all aspects of your PhD may be of interest for you, but there are things that you have to do in order to achieve the final goal. If you find yourself in this situation where you do not like certain aspects of your PhD, always try to find positive aspects into it, whether it's through discipline or through agreement with yourself, that you can overcome them. But do not confuse discipline with forcing yourself to work hard and every day. Be sure to take breaks. The best is to take weekends off. If that's not possible, at least try to take one day where you do not do work and you focus on other things, because everything needs to be balanced. Additional mistakes that I see that many PhDs do is comparing yourself. During PhD, you have your peers, you have your colleagues, you are in the same position, you are trying to get your diploma, you're working on projects, even though you come from different backgrounds, but human beings just start comparing themselves to each other. Comparison is the thief of joy. No matter if your colleague or if your peer published that paper, no matter if they are earlier on graduating than you, it does not mean anything about you. So do not tie the achievement to your self-worth. Everybody has their own timeline. Everybody has their own order of things happening in their life. To get to the same goal, 100 people can take different 100 paths, and there could be 100 ways of doing the same single thing. So your job is not to compare yourself, because you are unique, you are very different. Remember, your way is the best way.